Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Thoughts, Moose, on the NHL goalie of the year and who it should be?
Yeah, probably Igor Shesterkin. I mean, he's the favorite. That's why he's getting all the votes. He's even getting a lot of consideration for the Hart Trophy as the MVP. He's probably the biggest reason why the Rangers are, on your radar as a dark horse to win the Stanley Cup or to come out of the East. He's really, helped people forget, about Henrik Lundqvist. So, he's great. I love what Markstrom's done. I think Markstrom's got 9 shutouts to lead all goaltenders. Unbelievable. 9 shutouts for Jacob Markstrom. So I would really heavily consider him for the award. And Tristan Jarry's had a really nice season. Those are my top 3.
Well, crazy thing is, it is a team award. I don't care what anybody says. It's a team award, just like the Coach of the Year is a team award. I don't know if the Rocket Richard Trophy for most goals is a team award per se. Austin Matthews is sitting on 49, but it all comes down to how well you play defense. That's why I was always so upset with observers and fans of the Calgary Flames where they had a revolving door in the crease thinking, we'll just get a good goalie and all will be fine. Why don't you help the guy out? They finally got a goalie for the first time there since Mika Kiprasov and Jacob Markstrom, but and by the way, Johnny Gaudreau leads the NHL in plus minus. Daryl Sutter has put an onus on playing defense. Why? What? Do we got to do the thinking for everybody?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Does Michael Bunting deserve the Calder Trophy being 26 years of age? I don't think you got to worry about that because I don't think he is even the NHL's best rookie. So I don't think, he's going to be up for voting, right? Michael Bunting of your Leafs. I would vote personally for Tanner Jeannot. He's had an unbelievable season. But just based on odds, it's going to be one of those 2 kids out of Detroit that will win it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. Coming at you live on Game Plus Television, all across Canada and in 31 U.S. states. We got to work on that, guys and gals, at Game Plus. More states. It's hot and sticky here where we're broadcasting from, and I'm hoping that the Moose has put all his clothes on as we bring him in here from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, one half of this. Hey, a lot brighter than where you were earlier. You look like you were in a 1978 edition of Playgirl magazine, half nude. Last I saw you, hair rough and tumbled in a darkly lit room. You've changed.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can pull together so quickly before the show. We just turned the home studio on.
And you zipped up. Hey, by the way, this will probably come up in the warm-up here this morning, but they were talking about you in the gym this morning. You, Moose.
Okay.
They want to get you down here for a visit. And one lady, let's call her Katie. Every time I call you Moose Knuckle, she giggles uncontrollably. So I just wanted to tell you that you are being represented here in South Florida. Coming up on the program today, although it is a Football Friday, and a lot of our topics will pertain to football, our guests are not. Josh Getzoff is the radio voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins, one of the top teams in the NHL right now. It was the only day that he could join us. He'll be with us. And also, Steven Stamp will be joining us to preview a very big weekend in the National Lacrosse League. But if you don't mind, I think it's time to hit the Quick Six show horn, please. And thank you, Director Jordan. Number one, I just got the notification that Canada's pool is being unveiled as we speak for the World Cup in Qatar. It's not even in my Quick Six show topics. We'll debate it as this show goes along, okay? But what I will point out, because it's not just about sports what we do here. It's fun, it's entertainment, blah, blah, blah. It is April 1st, Moose. And I feel like we're coming out of COVID, but people still aren't into the April Fool's thing. I didn't see any elaborate April Fool's jokes today anywhere. Paul Almeida from Chad Radio, I think he's on Chad in Edmonton. Maybe he's on the competition.
Yep.
He tweeted that, breaking news, CFL, XFL have announced that they're going to play a championship game at the end of the season, blah, blah, blah. CFL rules in Canada, American rules in America. And a friend of mine that works for the BC Lions, Matt Baker, was like, weak. Didn't we already do that joke? It's not even, that's where we're at. There's nothing even funny anymore. But I will say this. We had a viewer in Santa Ana, California, who she was a day early on April Fool's. She said Bruce Willis died. You don't have the exact mail in front of you, but would you mind telling the viewers what came in overnight from Karen in Santa Ana, California?
Yeah, it came into our YouTube. She really wanted to clarify things, that she wasn't trying to spread fake news. She got the news handed over really quickly from a friend who works in an office. She didn't fact check it or verify it. She just wanted to help us out. She's just trying to help. She loves the show, watches every day. And even though you scolded her, Rod, yesterday, she still thinks you're kind of cute, but she doesn't like it when you wear orange. So that's what we learned overnight.
Hi, Karen. We love you in Santa Ana, California. Thank you for watching. Thanks for playing. But I will say this. If you're going to enter the chat and start spewing, you better wear a helmet, and you better have the elbows up. Okay? Because you can't just come in and say Bruce Willis died and then expect to just mosey on your way. So she was a day early on that. But the thing is, she actually meant it. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. We're going to break with tradition and the structure and format, which people would be shocked to believe that we actually have structure and a format, but we do. But this morning a notification came down. You probably got it too on my phone from TSN. Bayern Munich left back Alfonso Davies is Canada's most marketable active athlete, according to an international study from TSN/IMI. Alfonso Davies is Canada's most marketable active athlete. The 21-year-old Davies, who has a backstory that would inspire Hollywood and skills that make him among the best soccer players on the planet, placed ahead of Canadian NBA stars as well as Formula One driver Lance Stroll and the NHL Sidney Crosby and Connor McJesus. And I have to say, I stopped reading there. I took 2 paragraphs of it from the TSN website, put it in my quick 6. It's my second point. I'm not sure I buy this. And the reason I stopped reading there was I'm sure they have all their metrics and their guidelines as to why Alfonso Davies is Canada's most marketable athlete. And maybe he is. Like come November, when the World Cup kicks off, I'm sure their ratings will blow the NHL, CFL, NFL out of the water. Believe me, I'm sure that they will. So I'm not saying that I'm necessarily right. But I think if you stop 100 Canadians on the street from Gander, Newfoundland to, as you're looking at it, to Victoria, BC, 100, and you say, who's Canada's most marketable athlete? That's how I would do the poll. 90 are saying for sure Connor McDavid or some NHL star. Change my mind.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it all depends on who you're marketing to. Like if we go across the world, or we even go across North America, I think more people would be familiar with the name Alfonso Davies because he's now become an international superstar. Reminds me of when George St. Pierre was at the peak in the UFC in his mixed martial arts career. His name carried so much weight throughout North America and around the world. And, it became a really marketable asset for Canada. Inside our walls of Canada, though, yeah, I would think hockey's still number one easily. I think it would be McDavid or Crosby, or McKinnon, or those guys would have the most be the most marketable. But man, it could be Davies, I guess, if you're looking at who can you market Canada to when you're marketing to the rest of the world.
Well, right. There's all those different ways of looking at it. But I would say if you have a brand new sports drink that's right on the market for the first time, let's say pink drink, and you're looking for some marketable athlete in Canada to help you sell it, who are you hiring? And I think it would be Connor McDavid. BioSteel has actually done that. That's my metric for who's the most marketable, or who would you sign number one to sell your product in Canada. Anyways, we got to move along. I knew this would be a hot button topic, and people can write in the chat. who you think Canada's most marketable athlete is, because TSN says it's Alfonso Davies. To point 3, Austin Matthews scored his NHL-leading 50th goal of the season, and the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Winnipeg Jets 7-3 Thursday night. Matthews scored Toronto's sixth goal of the game into an empty net with 2:06 to go. Willie Nylander had 2 power play goals and a helper. Ilya Mikheyev scored a shorty, had a 3-point game. Mark Giordano added a goal and an assist. Johnny T also scored for Toronto. And they got 20 saves out of Eric Jalgren. And I'll say this, it was a far closer game than that. Wasn't it, Moose? Did you watch the game? It was tight. It was like 2-2, 3-3, then 4-3, 5-3, bing, bing, bing. But the Jets held it close for quite a while. I watched it. Nikolai Ehlers had a goal and a helper. Blake Wheeler and Paul Stastny also scored for Winnipeg. Eric Comrie stopped 31 shots. Before I move on, how did you feel about the game?
No, it was good, and you're right. It was a good close game for a while, and then the Leafs just pulled away at the end and put their foot on the gas pedal. But I thought the Jets held in for a while and then just couldn't keep up at the end.
Thank you for the analysis. From our viewers, Don, our Navy friend, international marketable athlete, not Canada's most marketable athlete. Well, I have it verbatim in front of me. Do I need to go back? Maybe Donnie went and read it from the TSN website. Is Canada's most marketable active athlete. Doesn't say anything about international or marketing that person globally. Canada's most marketable athlete. I might have it wrong. There's a very good chance of that. Moving on. Down here in Sunrise, Florida, Sergei Bobrovsky stopped 37 shots for his third shutout of the season, leading Florida past Chicago 4-0. Where's the Bob's your uncle?
Bob's your uncle.
They're not listening.
LFG.
They are listening. Right. Sasha Barkov scored twice. Gustav Forsling had a goal and an assist. And Ryan Lomberg, but they call him the Lamborghini here in South Florida, scored his fourth goal in 3 games as the Panthers won their 28th home game, a club record for a season. How about the Panthers? They continue to kick the crap out of everybody. Their next victims at FLA Live Arena is the Leafs on Tuesday night. We might want to put a wager on it. Moose?
Ooh.
Everybody's talking about it around here. Toronto coming into town. But I want to say this because people love my stories. This morning in the gym, they were kibitzing. They were needling me. And they said, they're all watching the show, right? And they said, oh, we love the way you say the names. What are you talking about? You say it Kucherov. I said, well, what is it? Kucherov. They call him Kuch. And all these Russian names. And I'm like, listen, guys, I learned when you guys were knee-high to a grasshopper from the Russians how to say their names. They said you need to put the emphasis on the middle syllable. It's not Sergei Fedorov, it's Sergei Fedorov. All these guys. But I learned it from the Russians way back when. And I think now Russians either are too lazy to correct the announcers and the fans, or they don't know that it's being said, or they literally don't care, or more than anything, they're probably too shy to say this is how we're supposed to say it. But I was always taught, I've been around a day or two, the middle syllable is the one that you emphasize. For instance, I said to the one guy, Brian, today, if you go back and listen to the 2012 World Juniors tape of the broadcast, Moose, you and I listened to it. I said, Joel Armia. No, it's Armia. Armia. Middle syllable. So, anyways, this is some of the buzz down here in South Florida. How you say Russians' names. Any thoughts on that?
Look at Ovechkin. Yeah, look at Ovechkin. Ovechkin.
Not Ovechkin.
Not Ovechkin.
Right. It's Ovechkin. It's the middle syllable. But as usual, I'm told that I'm wrong, and I've gotten far, far, far better, man, in my life at just knowing that I'm right and just, yay. Moving on, Freddie Anderson made 32 saves for his 4th shutout of the season, and Andrei Svechnikov scored twice as Carolina dominated Montreal 4-0 in Raleigh.
How about that?
Former Boston College... Okay, we're good with that. Former Boston College captain Mark McLaughlin scored in his NHL debut, capping a 6-goal second-period outburst that propelled Boston over New Jersey 8-1. Kyle Palmieri scored the go-ahead goal early in the third to lift the New York Islanders past Columbus 5-2. In St. Paul, Evgeny Malkin scored. See, it's Evgeny, not Evgeny, or Evgeny. It's Evgeny Malkin. Scored .357 into overtime, and Ricard Raquel had 2 goals as Pittsburgh halted Minnie's 7-game win streak, beating the Wild 4-3 in Denver. Mikko Rantanen scored the go-ahead goal on a power play with 7:43 to go. Pavel Francouz stopped 25 shots, and Colorado beat San Jose 4-2, and we wind up our trip in Calgary, where I miss our Calgary family, Darren, as I know you do too. Elias Anderson scored the deciding goal in the shootout. Cal Pedersen made 26 saves, and Los Angeles beat the Flames 3-2. For Calgary, it's back-to-back losses for the first time since January when they lost 4 in a row. So that's the scoop from the National Hockey League. A little later on, we will talk about the featured game of the week. I'm sure you have thought about it. The weekend, our Bet Regal contest. Yep. This is our viewers' chance to write in with a game that they will be watching the most this weekend, pick the winner of it, and if you successfully do that, you'll randomly go into a draw for a prize package from our friends at Bet Regal. People are writing in, then they're retracting their comments. I think they might be like Karen in Santa Ana. They're afraid now. They're afraid to wade into the cesspool with their comments. We're aware that the World Cup draw is going to be today. There are other networks covering that, so we're not going to jump on that train. You tell me what pool they're in. And by the way, coming up next, because it is a Football Friday, after the break, we're going to talk all CFL stuff, NLL weekend, all of that. But in the time we have left here, Moose, let me just say this, because in our morning meeting, which you called, you said, hey, the draw's today, which we all know. How could you miss it? My notifications are going off like bing, 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 bing. I get it. Hey, I got it. But I said, to me, it doesn't really matter. It's like when the schedule comes out. It's not that I'm not a soccer guy. I'm like, we got to play all these teams anyways. 9 home, 9 on the road, this many against the East, this many against... I know the pool is a big thing in the World Cup, but let's not act like you and I know who these teams are going to be that they're playing. But as you said in the meeting, there are world superpowers, so I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm not following it as much as you. Are you, though?
No, I don't think so. I just don't understand, and we'll get some clarity. Pot 1, 2, 3. I saw this in pot 1. I saw it came on, and pot 1 was Spain, England, Portugal, Brazil. That's all these superpowers. I know, and I'm like, oh, but that's not group 1. So I don't know. So I'm going to wait and see what the groups look like, because you got to play your group teams first, I guess. So hopefully what I hope is that Canada is in a group with a bunch of countries that I've never heard of when it comes to soccer. Fair?
Absolutely. And hey, we're a couple of small town guys on a national network, Game Plus TV, trying to figure this all out. But I will say this about the soccer people. They've been very accommodating, haven't they? Jamie Neugebauer, Rachel, our former intern, Simon Fudge has been after us for a long time, and now that we're into it, because they've been trying to get into us into it for so long, now we're into it, they're like, welcome aboard, right? They haven't turned their back on us. Instead, we were trying. They've been very nice, and I appreciate that. We are 3 points through the quick six. A lot of fun coming up after this break. You are watching the RP show on the Game Plus TV network. We're streaming on YouTube live daily. And, of course, you can always catch the podcast wherever you enjoy the best podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Mosaic Place, Sunday, April 10th. Get tickets now at mosaicplace.ca and sasktix.ca.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Number 16. A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
It is a Football Friday for our friends at Flame Tech, industry leaders in combustion services. Flame Tech, in business over 30 years. We got the Moose with us, the co-host. You know what I'm going to say, Moose. And you got the text going around. So apparently we're not on Game Plus. Let me say this. Duly noted, I'm getting inundated through Twitter, Facebook texts from people that were not on Game Plus. And you'd let us know. But to let me know is like asking Austin Matthews why tonight's game is on TSN but not Sportsnet, HockeyNet in Canada. Am I saying I'm the Austin Matthews of sports talk hosts? Yes, I am. That's like saying, Bo Levi, how come the Stamps game's on TSN 3 but not TSN 1? He's like, I'm not sure here. I'm trying to throw touchdowns. You know what I mean? So I don't know what happened.
Guys.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, Bo? We got to take a timeout here. I got to sort out the TV situation here. We're just going to take a few delay game penalties, guys.
Yeah, exactly. He's like under the huddle.
Get in there.
Or sorry, he's under the center, and all of a sudden, oh, hang on, undoes his chin strap. Wait, I just got word that we're only on TSN 5. Stop the game. I know I'm being somewhat facetious here, but I don't know why we're not on Game Plus today. I sit in front of the mic. That's what I do. I let the tech guys think about the other stuff. So anyways, I actually do appreciate this. Viewers are writing in saying what's going on the World Cup draw TV specials. And I can't name who those guys are because there's a lot of people have written in, but they said that's looks like more of a concert than an actual draw. So thanks for reporting on that as we move along on this Flame Tech Football Friday. I'll jump right to the poll question, and that is, will the CFL ever expand to Atlantic Canada? Ever? Last I saw the response, the vote was like 60-40 to the no. And that's on Twitter. Clark will tell me at some point what the YouTube vote is. If we bring the Moose back in, Capital Automall, 65% say yes, they will. So we can kick it around. I know that our viewers all week long have been writing in about this. And what it is they announced on Wednesday, Touchdown Atlantic, July 16th, Saskatchewan versus Toronto in Nova Scotia. I get it. They've been wanting to talk about CFL expansion all week. I didn't. Let's wait until Friday when we talk about football. And for two reasons, I voted no, the CFL will never expand to Atlantic Canada. I'll just give you two. I could probably give you 10, Moose. But number one, I don't think they will. That's why I voted no. And number two, I hope that me voting no spurs them on to actually do it. But I just think they won't. Because it motivates guys like you and me when people say you can't do something. Like the people 7 years ago said to me that, well, you'll never be able to get sober. You're too far gone. You're too much of a drunk. Oh, yeah? Watch. Thank you for that. And for those that said this Rod Pedersen show will never be a success, it's not going to last. I have the names written down of the people that said that if you want to see them. Thank you. Because guys like that, the haters and the doubters, make us successful. And I hope that me doubting and hating on CFL expansion will actually make these guys put a 10th team in the Atlantic Canada. But I don't think that they will. So there's my soliloquy on that. You?
I vote no. Completely different reason. And I'm very proud of Canada. I'm very proud of Canada. I'm very in love with it. I love that we're, it's our game. But I believe, in where we're going as a society that I've said this before, the borders are kind of being eliminated. I could see us putting a team in Minot or in Washington State or in some American place because it'll feel more local to Canadians than putting a team out in Eastern Canada and Atlantic Canada if there's no interest there from an ownership group and from fans. So I could see other markets being more viable.
That's, hey, whatever the reasons are, I just don't think it's going to happen. And Mike Blackbird in Toronto watching on YouTube, which apparently everybody's watching on YouTube, says never going to happen. It would have happened already. Dale Berazuk, a Winnipegger, writes in, he says, good day. The son, Jack, is in Florida with his mom for spring break. Back tomorrow. We will be back next week, enjoying the show as always. Be well, friends. Dale watches with his son every single day, so he's pointing out that Jack is not with him. But he's watching. Thank you, Dale. Wayne out in Victoria, BC, writes that he says, I believe that most people want expansion to the Maritimes, but the money and stadium are problems that have to be overcome. Yep. There's more reasons, and just it's in my commentary today. I don't assume, Moose, that you would have read it or saw it, or maybe you were listening to Cat Country or Rock 98.5. You probably were. But I said I'm over the CFL expansion talk. I'm over it. Because they've been kicking it around for 40 years. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 40 times, shame on me. And it's kind of annoying to me because I've had a lot of good friends. Eric Tillman has told me not to report on this, but I don't think it matters anymore. I mean, he left the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The word is over a handshake agreement or a verbal agreement that he was going to go run the Atlantic Schooners. And now there's no team. He just hasn't been in the league ever since. I know guys that have been hired, they thought, consulting or working with this Schooners group. There's no team. So they're at the point of jerking people around. And I've known owners that have come and go. I know one specific owner in the CFL that he's not in the CFL anymore. Part of the reason he left was because of the archaic way of thinking of these owners. And he said, Rod, they don't want a 10th team because they don't want to split the TV money a 10th by another team. So So there's that. So how bad do you really want to expand, or do you just want to see us chase our tails? Which kind of seems that way, doesn't it? The 4-down thing, the XFL thing, this expansion talk just seems to be, as somebody wrote in, the white whale. Somebody wrote into our Twitter and said the white whale of expansion in the CFL is that. Because what tangible evidence is there that it's ever going to happen? Please tell me.
It's a tennis
ball. There's my thought on that.
It's a tennis ball. And we're the dog. It's a tennis ball. We're the dog, you know? It's like, we don't have any food for you, go chase the ball. I don't got any snacks for you, go chase the ball. You know, here's 4 down. Here's CFL expansion. You know, here it is, go. Keep us occupied, get off our back, right? So it feels like it. I mean, I'd love to see it happen, but I've never been to a Touchdown Atlantic. You're just hoping that we can get out there, but I hope it would be, I think it would be great if we could add a 10th team and stretch all across Canada, but there's a reason it hasn't happened yet, telling us that it's going.
Yeah, you're having an internet issue there. I don't know if the boys can tell Darren what he needs to do. John Ohm, watching in Winnipeg, says, let's keep the CFL in Canada for now. And that's the other problem, is not everybody can agree on where this league is going. And I will just point this out, because I'm a CFL fan, I'm a CFL backer, but I'm just not in it for the fake news. When the CFL returns this season in May, when they kick off the league, what's changed? Same 9 teams, same rules, same people. They did it. They got through COVID with no change, which was really what they wanted all along. You know what I'm saying? Think about that for a second.
Yes. I know. It's crazy. Like to think that that's, you know, we thought, you know, COVID was going to maybe expose these issues, and now we can address all the issues and we can create some change coming out of the pandemic. No, there's no change, and maybe they're able to survive and thrive again, but that would just be out of pure luck, I think. You know, no changes, and we'll see where they go in the next, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. We heard now's the time to fix our business. Now's the time, we're not playing, so let's roll up our sleeves and fix this. And I see them coming back with absolutely zero change. Just think about that. Robin in Prince Albert watching says, can't they just make that temporary stadium in Atlantic Canada like the BC Lions did a few years back? Ask them. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. Would rather see a team in the Maritimes than in the States. Yeah. I'm all for growth, but it's not growing. It's just surviving. And I guess this is the reason why I brought up my commentary today, because you can always read it every day at rodpeterson.com. It airs on Cat Country FM and Rock 98.5 FM. But the other thing is, you cannot just pay attention to the Maritimes for a week, a year, and then have them all hot and bothered about getting a team. Because you said you haven't been to Touchdown Atlantic, Moose, but I have. I was out there. You know me. I'm talking to cab drivers and servers in restaurants and Tim Hortons worker. I'm talking to everybody. And I just got the sense that there was not a major appetite for CFL football in the Maritimes. And we've seen the Angus Reid studies where Maritimers identify themselves as an NFL fan region more so than the Canadian Football League. And why wouldn't they be? Because the CFL only shows up 1 week out of the year, and the other 51, they're getting the NFL hammered into their face. So I know you've been in and out, Moose, but what I just said is you can't show up for a 1 week out of the year and expect them to be beating your door down to get a team. Would you agree or disagree with that?
No, I would agree with that for sure. You got to constantly find a way to reach that market, but it also has to be worth your time to go reach that market. Like, you're not going to put a ton of effort into going and marketing to this, part of Canada if you have no interest, or you really don't think that you're going to add a franchise there, or you're going to get TV viewership from those regions. So, that becomes a real tough one, but you're right. It has to be more than just 1 week a year.
Another from John. in Winnipeg. He says, is the CFL in any worse shape now than it was in the 90s when it expanded to the States? Well, a couple things on that. Apples and oranges. So we're not as bad as then. That's not a recipe for success or nothing that I would be proud of. And secondly, it's a night and day league from back then. You had owners that were millions and millions of dollars in debt, franchises. Sig Gucci in Calgary comes to mind, Murray Pezim with the BC Lions. Now you've got teams owned by the Flames and owned by the Leafs and Raptors. You know what I mean? You got these sports conglomerates owning teams that'll never run out of money. And the CFL just seems to be treated like an annoyance by those teams. You know, and then you had Saskatchewan, Winnipeg shoveling dough to those nearly defunct teams just to keep them alive. My God, I'd like to think we're not there. So because we're not living hand to mouth in the 90s, we're better? Got it. And then with Chris saying she'd rather have another team in Canada than in the United States, we can sit and talk about this and argue till the cows come home. But like I say, I don't see any change. Anyways, Moose, you got your internet figured out?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope
Okay.
I'm not getting kicked out of here anymore.
Well, you're looking great, by the way. I'll see you back here in an hour or two.
See you then.
A sports update. And by the way, there's your CFL talk on a Football Friday. Why we don't think the CFL will ever expand to Atlantic Canada. Sports update. The Toronto Blue Jays, breaking news today, extending skipper Charlie Montoyo's contract, locking up their manager through the 2023 season. He helped the team to a 91-win campaign last year, finished fourth in the American League in Manager of the Year voting. The Blue Jays announced the decision this morning, which is 1 week before opening day. Montoyo became the 13th manager in Blue Jays history in October of 2018, signing a 3-year deal with the club. The Edmonton Oilers are making life at Rogers Place miserable for their opponents. Edmonton hosts the St. Louis Blues, having won their last 8 home games. In other action, the Ottawa Senators visit the Detroit Red Wings. Austin Matthews is the NHL's first 50-goal scorer this season. He became just the 4th Toronto player to hit the 50-goal plateau, scoring in the Maple Leafs' 7-3 win over the Winnipeg Jets. What does this mean? Austin became just the 4th Toronto player to hit the 50-goal plateau. All time? That can't be right. Really? There hasn't been more than 4 Leafs in 100 years scored more than 50 goals. No wonder they're terrible.
Bingo!
Elsewhere, the Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Montreal Canadiens 4-0, while the Kings down the Flames 3-2 in a shootout. Raptors are in Orlando tonight. They're coming off a 4-0 homestand that was capped Wednesday with a 125-102 victory over Minnesota. Michael Giglick of Burlington, Ontario, tops the 6 Canadians heading into the second round of the PGA Tour's Texas Open. He had an opening round 3 under 69, 1 shot better than Corey Connors of Listowel, Ontario, Adam Hadwin of Abbotsford, Nick Taylor also of Abbotsford, Adam Svensson of Surrey, and Roger Sloan of Merritt, BC are also in the event. This sports update for Ballers Rec Room. Check out our brand new line of games for the Tap Brewhouse and Drive-Thru Liquor Store, and for Red Bull Canada, Red Bull gives you wings. We're going to Pittsburgh next. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on a Friday. Game Plus TV, YouTube live streaming, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpeterson.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
casino.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
It is the RP Show, and promotional consideration for the RP Show brought to you in part by Tough Tribe for Men. It contains aloe vera, botanicals, and antioxidants traditionally known for their scalp and hair benefits. We are part of the clean beauty industry. Welcome to Clean Beauty for Men, available today at toughtribeformen.com. That's the number 4, toughtribeformen.com, and Amazon Canada. Well, we are figuratively going to Pittsburgh, not literally, because I got to think Josh Getzoff is on the road. Hey, Josh, welcome to the RP Show today. You guys coming off the big win in St. Paul last night and heading to Colorado next. You can't be in Pittsburgh right now, I wouldn't think.
No, that's right, Rod, and great to be with you. We're about, 2 time zones away in Denver, Colorado, ahead of that showdown tomorrow against the Avalanche. But yeah, you're right, coming off pretty entertaining and impressive victory for the Penguins last night in the Twin Cities.
Well, let's talk about that. Josh Getzoff with us. You're headed into Murderer's Row out here in the West. You snapped the wild 7-game win streak, and then you're going up against potentially the best team in the entire National Hockey League, the Avalanche. How did you pull it off last night in St. Paul?
You know, there was a game a couple weeks back the Penguins played, Rod, against the St. Louis Blues, who I think are built similarly to the Minnesota Wild. They're big, they're fast, they're physical too, and they like to impose those parts of their game on their opponent. Penguins aren't exactly big. Penguins can be physical, but to a different extent. They're pretty physical on the forecheck. They're not necessarily going to run you through the boards, though, in the neutral zone or anything of that nature. They're not going to drop the gloves. But they are fast and they are skilled. And I thought in that game a couple weeks ago, they just looked like they were running circles around the St. Louis Blues. A game, ironically enough, that went to a shootout. It was tight, but that was a little misleading because if you watch the game, the Penguins clearly were the better team on the ice. And I thought it was the same thing last night in Minnesota. The Penguins use their speed, use their skill, and now they have a little bit more of it up front with Rickard Rakell coming on board at the trade deadline. And I thought, went into a place, as you mentioned, it's been literally a house of horrors. They'd won 7 games in a row at home ice. We know the XL Energy Center is one of the tougher places to play to begin with, let alone with all the momentum that the Wild had built there. But Penguins go in there, they get the first goal, they build a 2-goal lead. Wild storm back. I mean, they're a great hockey team. It's not surprising that they were able to do that. And I think coming into that game last night, they had led the NHL in 2-goal comeback victories with 7. So that was kind of commonplace for them to do what they did last night. But I just felt like once the game flipped to overtime, the Penguins took it up another notch. There was more ice, obviously, and their speed was on display, and they were able to get the extra point. But I just think the couple of games that they've strung together against some of these better teams out west here recently, like the Blues game I mentioned, like the Wild game last night, kind of sets up for pretty good measuring sticks as to where they rank amongst the NHL's best. 2 teams in the Wild and the Blues that I would consider very much Stanley Cup contenders. But none more so than the team they're seeing tomorrow, the Colorado Avalanche. And they haven't seen them yet this year, Rod. So that's going to be a pretty good test on Saturday afternoon.
Well, just 1 second. Explain to me why the Flower didn't play last night. Cam Talbot did. Is it because had Marc-Andre played the night before? Or is the shine worn off the Flower playing his former team these days?
Well, I'll tell you, he knew we were there, Rod. At the morning skate, he turned around and shot a puck at all the broadcasters pretty quickly to welcome us back to Minnesota. But he, from what I understand, the Wild are pretty content with kind of flip-flopping Cam Talbot and Marc-Andre Fleury here down the stretch, because Talbot, coming into last night, had won 8 in a row on home ice. I believe also had started 6 of the last 8 games for the Wild overall. So he's been kind of the bell cow for Minnesota for the better part of this season. Now, obviously, you bring in a future Hall of Famer in Fleury, and you got to find a way to make that work. And I think Dean Evason will at the end of the day. And, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line, a couple weeks from now, it is Marc-Andre Fleury who's the number one guy. But I think they literally started Talbot because they're on a rotation. And Fleury has had some success against the Penguins. But this year, a couple of interesting games. He did beat him in a shootout in Chicago when he was with the Blackhawks earlier in November. But Penguins lit him up pretty good in October. So maybe for the best that he wasn't in for that game. A little emotional for him, obviously, every time he goes against the Penguins. But Cam Talbot's obviously carved out a pretty good spot for himself there in Minnesota as well, and he was solid last night.
I picked a Vegas-Florida Stanley Cup final. I amended that to a Calgary-Florida Stanley Cup final. But now I'm starting to think it could be Colorado-Pittsburgh, the way things are going. So is there any talk of that for Saturday afternoon's clash? Probably not, but these are two really good teams.
Yeah, I would think the conversation becomes a little bit more real now, right? Because now we're in April, and it's the last week of the regular season, and these are the two teams that towards the top of the standings. I mean, the Penguins are, I think, 6 points back, I should say, of the top spot in the Eastern Conference, held by the Carolina Hurricanes. And then you look at the Western Conference, and no one has more points than the 100 to the name of the Colorado Avalanche. So that's going to be a pretty impressive test for them as they get to the ice here tomorrow afternoon in Denver. When I look at the Avalanche, though, I mean, this is the team that, they had some injuries. I understand Nazem Kadri got hurt last night. I'm not sure what his status is. I know McKinnon was a little banged up. He did play. So I'm not entirely sure what their roster will look like. And the Penguins had an injury last night, and Jason Zucker getting hurt right after he returned to the lineup after 30 games out. So the rosters are a little bit in flux, but I think the teams and the expectation of where the teams could be is very real, that it could be a meeting, later on this spring, early summer, where these two teams get together to vie for Lord Stanley's Cup.
Josh, what would be the schedule for the Pens today? Are they on the ice, or are they getting a day off given the travel slate?
Yeah, they were scheduled to practice today, but Mike Sullivan, the head coach, has a pretty good relationship with the leadership group here. And they're one of the older teams in the league. They do have some young pieces, but their average age is almost 29 and a half years old. So when they look around their room and they kind of gauge where they're at as far as, the rest needed, the recuperation needed, they took the option to have the day off today here in Denver. With the afternoon game tomorrow, I think that makes sense. I think if it was a night game tomorrow against the Avalanche, they probably would have skated today. But just an opportunity to kind of reset, regroup after a physical game in Minnesota last night and get ready for what should be another physical and fast-paced game against the Avs Saturday.
Probably the must-see game of the weekend of the National Hockey League. Josh, well, them taking the day off afforded you the time to come on with us. I really appreciate it, man. Good luck chasing Lord Stanley. I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, anytime, Rod. Great to join you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, bud. The radio voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Josh Getzoff, joining us from Denver. We'll be right back with a Taco Time viewer takeover. On the way, Steven Stamp, our National Lacrosse League insider, coming up in hour 2, and more of the Moose as well. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show, streaming on YouTube today. Also, Game Plus Television Monday to Friday, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's the always popular viewer takeover. Are we on the air? It's the always popular viewer takeover segment presented by Taco Time. Ah, boy. I'm looking at the viewers. Larry Dye in Medicine Hat regarding our poll question. He says the CFL will be in Atlantic Canada when they move out of Toronto. I'm not touching that one today. He wrote in on the 902 text line, 902-518-3033. The poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, will the CFL ever, in all caps, ever expand to Atlantic Canada? And that, Larry, isn't even a stab at the question. I said, will they expand? You're saying they're going to move out of Toronto. That's a different thing. And believe me, a few weeks ago, we were doing the show from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And I suggested that the Argos move, and it was not popular with the people in Toronto. Let's just put it that way, okay? My phone blew up all day and night. They didn't like that suggestion, so I'm not going to make that suggestion. Rob Tyson, watching in Cold Lake, Alberta, says ESPN and TSN announced a wide broadcast schedule of the NLL playoffs. What does your buddy Stamper know about that? Thanks. Stephen Stamp coming up next hour to talk about that. But now would be a good time here in Viewer Takeover to talk about that, because we do enjoy all sports. This from the NLL PR team out of Philadelphia. What a weekend on deck. 9 games over the course of 4 days. The Buffalo Bandits are the only team to have clinched a playoff spot. 7 more spots remain. The Rock, the Thunderbirds, and Seals can all clinch a playoff spot this weekend, and the Bandits can get a home playoff game. So tonight, April the 1st, the games are Nighthawks, Rochester Nighthawks at Halifax Thunderbirds, Toronto Rock at Georgia Swarm, and the featured game of the week is the Vancouver Warriors at the Calgary Roughnecks, 7 p.m. Mountain for those of you in southern Alberta. TSN will be showing it nationally as their game of the week, and there's a bunch of games tomorrow, including on ESPN2, the San Diego Seals at the Toronto Rock. Also, Philadelphia at New York, Buffalo at Colorado, and Albany at Vancouver. So, how about that? Very big weekend in the NLL. We'll be talking next hour with Steven Stamp about that. And I should also mention what the viewer Rob in Cold Lake, Alberta is referring to. And I'm ever glad that I wrote this down or included it in my show topics. We never got to it off the opener. The 2022 NLL playoff schedule has been announced. Over May and June, the postseason will consist of a single elimination game quarterfinals, which I don't think is new. We'll have to bring the Moose on next hour to talk about that. I always think the quarterfinals, the first round, is a one-game series. And then the conference finals are best of 3. The championship final is best of 3. If the playoffs started today, the defending champion Calgary Roughnecks would be the first champion since the 2008 Nighthawks to fail to qualify for the playoffs to defend their title. So it goes on to say what the first-round matchups would be, but the playoffs aren't starting today, so I'm not willing to go down that road. But we are excited about the NLL, of course, and I can't wait to get back to Canada to watch some of it because there's none here in South Florida. What a day would be if there is, if that happened. It's past noon Eastern, so you can't go with the April Fool's jokes now. Tacona and Winnipeg says, breaking news, Connor Bedard traded to Saskatoon. He literally almost had me. Last minute of play in hour one. For 0.37 seconds, you had me, Tacona. Then I realized the trade deadline's gone. And 2, it's April Fool's. I have no clue what they're talking about with the Qatar draw, the World Cup. That's not to say I'm discounting it. But we heard today that the draw would be selected. We would find out who Canada's playing. They're saying Pot A, Pot B. There's a concert going on, a band. What? What is this sport that they call football? Hey. Moose will rejoin us next hour to make sense of it all. It's going to rain here shortly, too. I got to get the Jeep covered up in the break. We'll be right back here on YouTube and apparently no Game Plus TV.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You got to subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM-certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Does Michael Bunting deserve the Calder Trophy being 26 years of age? I don't think you got to worry about that because I don't think he is even the NHL's best rookie. So I don't think, he's going to be up for voting, right? Michael Bunting, if you're Leafs, I would vote personally for Tanner Jeannot. He's had an unbelievable season. But just based on odds, it's going to be one of those two kids out of Detroit that will win it.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2, and I think you're going to want to stay tuned in for the entire hour because I think it's just going to get crazy. And I think we've got the Moose with us back in the last 20 minutes been for you, Moose.
The last 20 minutes has been awesome. Made a new cup of coffee, switched everything up. Life is good, and hope you're good too.
What a day, eh? What a life. Did you make some of Theo's special coffee? Theo's special coffee?
I did, and I pulled out the RP Show mug, and it's a perfect way to spend a Friday.
Yes, it is, and that's why we're going to do our best to entertain you people here over the next hour. But I'm sitting here, I've busted into a sweat, I'm leaking a little bit, and I can't tell. But what are they doing back there? I just said you people. Did you hear the bell? Did you hear the bell? There you go.
There it is.
I started leaking, sweating, and I can't tell if it's because of the humidity or it's because of we're apparently not on Game Plus television today. I don't know. I just sit behind the mic. I don't know why or where or what we're on and when. I have my job. What channel we get on is not my job. But it still brings with it a little bit of stress. And I think there's a chance that the rain's going to roll in here before we get off the air. So in the last 2 breaks, I've been running out, trying to cover up the Jeep with a tarp. There's been lizards crawling up this screen all day. It's just a weird day, Moose. It's weird. Has your day been weird?
A little bit. Well, like I was up really late last night and then, woke up just in time for our morning meeting. And then it's been a little weird. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Just going to make another coffee. Just going to jump on here and talk sports with Rod. And we're going to forget about everything else till we're done.
That's very good for your mental health. Good for you. So, hour 2 of the program is brought to you by Great Western Original 16 Beer, the best beer in the game. It is a Flame Tech Football Friday. There's no breaking news today, football-wise. We can tell you that Charlie Montoyo has signed a contract extension with the Blue Jays through 2023. We're trying to decipher our best with the World Cup draw coming down. And from our viewers, because our viewers are very smart, if they're confused by what's going on, what are the stupid people? How are they deciphering what's going on with this World Cup draw? So we'll sort that all out once we get off the air. Just before I move on to the next topic, can I suffice it to say we don't know who Canada's playing just yet as we sit here right now in the World Cup when it starts in November?
We have no idea. The only thing I've deciphered in the break was that it looks like Spain and Germany are in the same group, and they're calling that the group of death. That's all I know.
Okay. Now I'm asking the viewers. Okay, Jennifer from the Four Seasons writes in, and she says, that was my day yesterday. Weirdo Wednesday was a day late, she says. Ryan in New York says, sorry, Canada is in pot 4. My bad. When did they start calling it pots? Have they always called it pots? Like, I almost feel like running in the corner and sucking my thumb and going, I'm done with soccer.
I know.
What the hell is this?
So the pots are how they sort out the teams. I think it's like based on how well you did, how many points you put up. That's not the groups you're going to be in. So it's like a team from pot 1 will be with a team from pot 2 and 3 and 4. I have no idea.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the sports that we actually have some semblance of an idea of what it is. It is April Fool's Day, and for whatever reason, our viewers have just woken up to that fact. Is there not a rule that come noon, April Fool's is over? It's 1 p.m. Eastern, as I sit here right now as the crow flies, 1:04 p.m. Eastern. So I guess out in the Western time zones, it's not. So Mike Blackbird in Toronto writes in, he says, breaking. Ticats and Argos to merge. The new team will be the Hammer Toe Argos Cats. It's not bad. I haven't heard anything else or anything better. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and he says, John Hufnagel, breaking news. John Hufnagel has announced he'll retire on Labor Day. Nice try, Jeff the Stamps fan. And while we're sitting here on April Fool's Day, can I say some of our best, and you know what they are, but back in my old job doing local radio, one of my favorites was we said the Regina Agrodome has sold its naming rights to Macintosh, Apple Computers, and it's going to be called the Macarena. And this was at the height of the Macarena. And it got people all hot and bothered. This was in the 90s. And then I said that the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, one of my favorite hockey leagues, was going to expand to Regina, and the Rough Riders were getting a team, the 13th team in the SJHL. They were going to be called the Regina Rough Riders and play out of the Cooperators Arena, 1,500-seat facility next to the Macarena. And I had a call from a wealthy sports guy who said, I want in on this team. Who's the ownership group? And I'm like, dude, check the calendar, man. Very, very wealthy oil tycoon. That's all I'll say. And then I started to think, maybe I shouldn't do these April Fool's jokes, or maybe I shouldn't make them so good. You know?
It's outstanding. The Macarena. That's good. I love it.
You're still hung up on that, the Macarena. See, that's the thing.
And the funny...
yeah, go ahead.
The funny thing about that is I've heard it before. You told me this one before, and I still think it's funny.
It's so funny. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, April Fool's jokes are getting hard to pull off. I think you're right. For whatever reason, why do you say that? I mean, because in the 90s, there really was no Google. I don't even think there was a Google back then. The internet was just getting going. There certainly was no social media. Why was it easier then? You're right, Jeff. I'm wondering why you think it is harder to pull off the jokes. And I guess, I don't know. I don't have the interest. I have the time. I just don't have the interest to pull off elaborate April Fool's jokes anymore. We had the one where my good friend Scott Schultz, who had already retired from the Rough Riders, the old 96er, we said he was coming out of retirement to sign with Calgary. And I, as you know, got a photo of him with a Stamps jersey and a cowboy hat and photoshopped him shaking hands with John Hufnagel. And that one was too realistic because people were writing me and Scott for months afterwards thinking he'd actually signed. So do you have to make it so stupid, that nobody would believe it? I don't know.
No, you got to have some believability, but to pull it off, and it's not that you have to lay fake news groundwork before, but there has to be a trail. It has to be something that's been talked about before, and then when you release it, it's not a surprise, so you can totally numb people's brains that are trying to be aware of an April Fool's joke.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the magic secret is, but I think I'm past that. Somebody else can pick up the mantle on that. Jeff the Stamps fan's doing a great job of it. DG in Saskatoon writes in and he says, "Morning, guys. As we creep closer to the kickoff of the USFL in 3 weeks, I'm curious on who the Rod Pedersen hosts are adopting as their team. Corey Chamberlain and the Birmingham Stallions, Mike Riley's New Jersey Generals, or Bart Andrus and Marcel Belfay and the Philadelphia Stars? Rather than fight more football, I'm embracing it." Well, I think we're all going to embrace it. Tampa Bay's got a team, right? Didn't I say Tampa Bay's going to be my team? I'm always going to pick the Florida teams because they're more comfortable road trips. You picked the Michigan Wolverines as your college football team, and I'm like, good luck going to Detroit, man. But that's you. That's you do you. But mine's going to be Tampa Bay in the USFL. Have you picked yours?
Yeah, there's a Michigan team in the USFL. So I'm going to take the Michigan team as well. Just make more convenient road trip.
Yes, well, that was easy. Carrie in Red Deer writes in. She says, "Okay, I got nothing to say, but thank God it's Friday." Actually, she says TGIFF. She says, "Yep, 2 Fs. Not a typo. Hoping to catch up with you guys at the Grey Eagle on your next trip through." Signed, Carrie in Red Deer. Well, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Come down to the Grey Eagle. We're going to be there beginning April the 11th. Ryan writes in from the sweatpants capital, and he says, "Are you guys ever going back to host a show from the bunker again? Just curious. Pre-COVID, I really liked having the guests in studio with you guys. Great work, fellas. Been a fan since day one." Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. And to that, I would say, stay tuned. Because you just never know where we're going to pop up next. Right? But
and we really
as we
love
said,
having those live.
Yeah, you go ahead.
We really love
boss.
having those live guests, obviously. And we've been able to do that in Calgary when we get there. And if we ever happen to be back here or when we're in Estevan or wherever we are, live guests are a lot of fun. So we'll continue to try and push for that. Yeah.
For sure. But, I mean, we were doing it at Grey Eagle. Look at all the people we had down there. We were just getting rolling. We were just getting rolling in the bunker. And then, of course, COVID hit. We couldn't have anybody in there. And what do you got there? It's 11:11. How about that? How about that? That means everybody take a pink drink. Completely just derailed any discussion we were having. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain, and that's totally fine. Chris
that
Fox,
happened for a reason.
Stop talking. I gotcha. Well, Moose and I were talking. We're like, hey, look at, honestly, for lack of anything else to talk about, let's talk about us. When we were plotting the road ahead, we looked at, pardon the interruption, you got one guy in Washington and one guy wherever the hell he is. I don't even know where he is. Phoenix?
Yeah.
Or Vegas? Mike Wilbaum and Tony Kornheiser? They've been doing it for 20 years. Nobody cares. What's the difference? Chris from the CLL Lacrosse writes in. Chris Fox watching says, it's harder to pull off jokes because everything is so believable after the crazy that has happened over the course of the last 2.5 years. He might literally be onto something. Like, nothing would surprise us anymore. That's a really good point. Because when Jeff said, it's hard to fool people now, it reminded me of my training in New York for interventions training when I went down there. And the guy that was leading the training, his name's Earl Hightower. You've heard me talk about Earl. And he's been doing this for 35 years, interventions. He's the John Wayne of interventions. And he says, guys, it's hard to do an intervention anymore because of that damn TV show. You walk into the room, turn on the lights, surprise, he knows why he's there. You know what I mean? So I thought that might have been the reason. Oh, boy, here we go. Do you hear the lawnmower, by the way?
It's Friday. We're just limping into the weekend.
I'm going to have to move my Jeep. I forgot what day it was. He said, can you move your Jeep? Can't get past it with a lawnmower. Alex Campbell, watching on YouTube, if you don't mind, Moose, says, what is the pink drink? It's a probiotic drink that flushes your system, and the pounds just melt off. People, I don't know if you probably didn't see my Instagram, but my page, Moose, but you're up till 2:30 in the morning last night, so maybe you did. People are wondering how on earth I haven't gained any weight eating at a buffet for the last 2 months, almost every day. You saw that I went to the Golden Corral last night.
I was going to ask you about that, and how was it?
Listen, I'm not going to say it's better than the Grey Eagle buffet, but I will say that it's different. Just different things. Pizza. I loaded up on pizza. Because as you know, I asked for pizza at the Grey Eagle, and you know what they said? Take a leap. So I loaded up on a lot of pizza, a lot of pasta, steak buffet, which they also have at the Grey Eagle. I had fried chicken. I had mac and cheese. I had tacos that I made myself. Coconut meringue pie. Does that sound like something you might be interested in?
Oh, my gosh. Now you're getting me excited to go back to the Grey Eagle buffet.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, when are you back to Grey Eagle? We are back April 11th to May 6th. And as I was saying to you when we cracked the lid on this when we started the show, I said, we're missing our Calgary family. It was nice to get that email from them, from the Grey Eagle family yesterday, Moose, about plans for when we come back. So they're ready for us. They're ready for us. We're going to take a timeout. Randy from the Peg writes in, he says, Canada has avoided the group of death. Well, that's great. That's just fantastic. I think I'm going to have to move my Jeep here, okay? So we'll be right back. We'll talk about the featured game of the weekend, the Bet Regal contest. We'll get everybody to play along. We'll talk about the poll question for Capital Automall, Universal Collision Center, and a whole lot more. It is a Flame Tech Football Friday. You're watching on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio streaming at rodpeterson.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Alice Cooper, the godfather of shock rock, is back. With special guest Buck Cherry. Mosaic Place, Sunday, April 10th. Get tickets now at mosaicplace.ca and sasktix.ca.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives, focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is a Flame Tech Football Friday, and as we usually do on Fridays, we're feeling bouncy, charitable. We're opening up Taco Time viewer takeover early today, so fire your questions and comments at us. We're having some fun today. I want to ask you, just take a run, folks, at your best April Fool's joke. Humor me, please. And from the viewers, before we get into the contest of the weekend, Moose, John Ohm, where did I put it? Ohm writes in from Winnipeg. He says, lawnmower sounds, golf course ads. I want summer. Well, it will get here, John. Wishing for it won't make it go any faster, but can I entice you to come down to Florida, where you can order license plates that say Florida Endless Summer with the image of a guy carrying a surfboard under his arm. Endless Summer. It's amazing. Mike in Toronto, Mike Blackbird says, nothing says live TV more than having to move your Jeep. Yeah, because the lawnmower guy's coming. And Wayne in Victoria, BC says, he says, it sounds like you don't need to eat for a week, Rod. Golden Corral was amazing, and we like to say we're the Golden Corral of sports talk, a little something for everybody, and that's what we're doing. So before I move along to what I'd like to talk about, Moose, you are the co-host. You should get 50-50. What would you like to talk about in this segment before I switch gears?
You know what? We go wherever you want. I mean, I was cutting some social media last night, actually. The reason I was up so late last night, I didn't tell you this in our morning meeting. I went, Mom and Dad were in town, and they were spending the night down the road at the Temple Gardens. So I went and hung out with them last night. And we went for a little soak, and it was awesome. To be honest, I had never gone. I've never been. And so it was fun. Spent about an hour and a half floating around and visiting, and it was a really good time. So then got into the social. But yeah, I'm good to go wherever you want to go.
It's a great spot, and I plan to spend a lot of time in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan this summer. Maybe even the Temple Gardens Mineral Spa. Such a great place. Ted Blues in Red Deer watching. He says, hey, Rod, who was your all-time favorite CFL interview or story? Got to be former rider Stevie Baggs, right? It's funny you say that. It's not Stevie Baggs. And by the way, remember when we used to do Q&As like this, Moose, like 2 years ago when we first started? Just fire questions at us. I'm okay with doing that now. If you want to do that. Stevie Baggs, here's the thing. Stevie Baggs played for a lot of CFL teams. Really good guy. And there was a lot of guys that didn't like him. And I never really realized why. Stevie and I got along, and then I kind of bought, after he left Saskatchewan, I started to buy into what the other guys were saying. Oh, Stevie's this. He doesn't get any real sacks. He just jumps on guys after the play, makes his stacks look good. Stevie's always looking in the mirror. Stevie's this and that. And I, like an idiot, I started to fall in line with that and then realized, no, that's just guys that are jealous. Because Stevie's talented, Stevie's a good guy, Stevie's funny. Yeah, he's good looking, I guess. Guys are just jealous of him. And his interviews were great. I mean, Stevie wasn't my favorite interview. Like, I remember one night in BC, Riders had lost. I'm doing the post-game interview. Stevie was our defensive game star because he'd had a great game. And I'm like, Stevie, how does it feel to have the loss today against the Lions? And he says, Rod, the tears of our loss of today are just the water for our garden of prosperity of tomorrow. And I'm like, what? What the hell is he talking about? This is on live radio. Our tears of sorrow today are nothing but water for our garden of prosperity tomorrow. That was from Stevie. And, of course, they call him Stevie Shakespeare Baggs because all he does is make plays. Pa-dum-pum. The guys that were great interviews is a lot longer list than the guys that weren't great interviews. I don't like interviewing Chris Jones to this day. I like Chris a lot. I'd say we're pretty close friends, actually. I don't like interviewing him. Hated interviewing Don Matthews. Dave Dickinson won't even talk to me, but we're working on that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have to put some thought into this.
I know. It's like those poor suckers that got to go and interview Daryl Sutter after every game. Like,
that's what I mean.
If you saw the post game yesterday, and it's up on our TikTok page, and it's actually getting a bunch of views. It was literally they lost in a shootout to the LA Kings last night, and the reporter says, "So, Daryl, can you analyze this game for us tonight?" Yeah, we lost 3-2 in a shootout. I'm like, thank you for your excellent analysis. You know, like, but it never gets old with that guy, though.
It never gets old watching it for guys like you and me. But doing those interviews, oh my God. I'm just so happy. I'm grateful every single day for the opportunity that's in front of us, doing this show and not having to do what I used to do. And people don't understand how difficult it is. Not to mention, I know when I get off the air here at 2 p.m. Eastern today, I am done till Monday. So, that's the other thing. Tacona Powley in Winnipeg writes in and says, how about Huberdeau, Rod, and his 71 assists? Well, yes, we're excited about the Florida Panthers. Everybody's excited about the Florida Panthers. It was 15,587 in the house the other night. And what I was thinking about that is the Panthers know that I've been on that train since day one. They know it. And Adeline, who you met, their senior VP of communications, you met her, Darren, was wearing an orange top with a blue pantsuit. I think that's what the women call them, pantsuit. I was wearing an orange V-neck T-shirt with a navy pantsuit. So I walked up to her the other night in the press box. I'm like, hey, Addie, you got the memo? And she's like, yeah, team uniform. So she knows. So I can't wait for the Stanley Cup playoffs in Florida to go far. And that was another thing that they were buzzing in the gym about this morning, Moose, was that there are no podcasts or shows to watch down here for their NHL teams or hockey in general. So they're more than excited to have us be that for them. Anything else before I move along?
No, that's awesome. And just on that 71 assists, most all-time in a season by a left winger. I mean, that kind of blows my mind a little bit that no left winger in history has ever had more than 71 assists. But cool to see Huberdeau get it and get some recognition down there.
Hoobie dooby doo. It's like, did they burn the first half of the record books? I don't understand. I've got a scout that's texting me, it's true, only 4 Leafs have scored 50 goals or more in their history. That can't be right.
I know.
But I guess it is. Just like what you're... But Wayne was a centerman. So, yeah, Gretzky's not in that group. So anyways, I'm going to take it upon myself to switch gears here. We have to. Okay, I blew my mind to bring on Josh Getzoff last hour, the radio voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins, talking about the Pittsburgh at Colorado game on Saturday and the National Hockey League. I think that's got to be my featured game of the weekend for Bet Regal. And I think I got to pick Colorado to win at home, even though Pittsburgh's on quite a heater here. Tonight in the NHL, there are 7 games. Chicago is at Tampa Bay, one night after getting spanked in Florida. Subway Series in New York. Islanders at Rangers. Nashville at Buffalo. Ottawa at Detroit. Friends and family game there. St. Louis at Edmonton. That's not anything to sneeze at. Vegas at Seattle again, I guess. And Anaheim at Arizona. NBA tonight. Raptors are at Orlando. Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays are playing Pittsburgh right now in Bradenton, Florida. I've been at that stadium. It's awesome. 9 games in the dub tonight, including the one you'll be calling, the Winnipeg Ice at the Regina Pats. Did the Ice get a hold of you, by the way? They got to me trying to get to you. Did they get a hold of you?
I figured you might have had something to do with that.
Yeah. And then the SJ, the conference semifinals open tonight. I'm just going to throw that in there because I love the league so much. Yorkton at Estevan, game 1 tonight. Flin Flon at Humboldt, game 1. And in the NLL, Rochester at Halifax, Toronto at Georgia, Vancouver at Calgary. So you can call that your sports on tap for tonight for the Tap Brewhouse and drive-through liquor store. But my featured game is Pittsburgh at Colorado in the NHL Saturday afternoon. I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to pick Colorado to win. We're asking all our viewers, you pick, folks, your game of the weekend. Don't write into the chat on YouTube. You've got to text the text line, 902-518-3033. Your featured game, pick the winner, and if you're correct, you will be entered into a draw to randomly win a prize package from our exclusive betting partner, BetRegal.ca. Now, through all of that preamble, what's your featured game of the weekend, Moose?
Yeah, it's going to be the game I'm calling tonight. I want to see the number 1 team in the CHL, the Winnipeg Ice, tonight, and the Regina Pats. But, that I had my eyes already on that Colorado-Pittsburgh game. So much that, I was already looking at it for our social channels and whatnot. I mean, it's a heavyweight tilt, and it's at here, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, 3 o'clock in the afternoon out east. It's an early game. So I kind of like those once in a while, a real heavyweight tilt in the middle of the afternoon.
Randy in the Peg smells what you're cooking. Randy in the Peg has written in and says, Randy from the Peg, my game of the weekend, Pittsburgh, Colorado. Pittsburgh wins. He says, great week, RP crew. Have a good weekend. Nice hit by Radko Gudas last night. Yeah, Radko Gudas is a very bad man. I don't know if you saw his hip check on Kirby Hickory Dickory Dock last night here in Sunrise. Did you see that hip check where he knocked him ass over tea kettle, as they say?
Yeah, it ended up going up on our Twitter feed right after it happened. I put the video up there because it was so great. And the commentators, I don't know if it was Darren Pang or who was on the call. Might have been Bally Sports Florida, but they're like, it's a lost art. They were just basking in the glory of the hip check, which is so rare now.
Well, the Florida Panthers have something going on. And specifically with Radko Gudas on one thing. I've seen him hip check a guy that spun around and hip checked another guy. He took 2 guys out at once. Radko Gudas. We're asking our viewers for your best stab at an April Fool's joke. Jim Wagner watching in Balgoni. Leafs win the cup. April Fool's is the only day you'll hear that. Enjoy the weekend, all. Yeah, you and Clark don't like that one at all. Your video cut out there, or was it just me? I don't know.
Uh-oh.
It's all good. It is supposed to be a Flame Tech Football Friday. We were unable to get TSN's, CFL insider Dave Naylor on the program today, but Clark assures us he will be on Monday. I don't really know what there is to talk about with him in CFL circles right now, to be perfectly frank. Because it is a Flame Tech Football Friday and we got a couple minutes left in this segment, you, viewers, tell us what you would like us to ask Dave Naylor. The only thing that's come out of it this week in the CFL is the Touchdown Atlantic, and that's not small. That's a big deal. And I guess, is it only natural, Moose, that the fans would spin that off into Atlantic expansion? Like, I guess if the NHL were to play a neutral site game in Saskatoon, that would spur expansion talk to Saskatoon. Or I understand the Senators are going to play some games in Quebec City next year, so I guess that's going to get tongues wagging about Quebec City as an NHL expansion site. I just think there's a very good chance that the NHL will expand, which they're not going to, but they'll do it before the CFL. And our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, do you think the CFL will ever expand to Atlantic Canada? On YouTube, last we checked, 65% of respondents saying yes, it will. On Twitter, 65% last I checked said no, it will not. Very long, rambling question for me to you, Moose, but the question was, is it just natural for the fans of the CFL to talk about expansion when Touchdown Atlantic comes up?
Yeah, of course it is, because that's kind of the reason that you have Touchdown Atlantic, to expose the game to that part of the country, to those fans, to try and gauge how much interest there's going to be. And what we can do, right? And if it's possible. So, of course, that's the next kind of logical step, is to think about expansion. And, the other thing for me when it comes to Dave Naylor on Monday, two things that I would maybe bring up. One is, we talked about BC and their quarterback situation being the reason why they're not higher in our power rankings. Does he have any news about what BC is going to do at quarterback? And does he expect any of these Canadians or these former CFL players that are traveling through the U.S. and have been on NFL rosters in the past year, does he expect any of them to come back to the CFL at some point?
I apologize for the lawnmower. Gino DePaoli, the voice of the Oilers, writes in and says, thoughts on the World Cup draw? Canada with Belgium, Morocco, and Croatia. My thoughts are, not Belgium! We don't have a chance! I have no thoughts on Canada's draw for the World Cup. I'll start thinking about it in November. I say that slightly facetiously. And Ted in Red Deer says, who is favored to be the CFL's number one pick in the CFL draft? It's linebacker Jesse Luketa out of Penn State. Look it up. Moose, I'll see you back here for overtime, okay?
You betcha.
You're watching a Flame Tech Football Friday on the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus TV, Monday to Friday, noon Eastern. Also, we're live streaming on YouTube and 24-hour sports radio at rodpeterson.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Heading into the weekend here in South Florida, another beautiful Friday. This one a Flame Tech Football Friday, but here on the dead of the off-season, not talking total gridiron or pigskin. There's breaking news. We're talking another kind of football. Breaking news, Canada will face Belgium, Morocco, and Croatia in, Group F in the opening group stage of the World Cup in Qatar this November. The Canadian men are ranked 38th in the world compared to number 2 for Belgium, number 16 for Croatia, and number 24 for Morocco. Canada was the last ball taken in the draw. So from what I understand from the soccer fans, this could be worse. But we're going to talk NLL now and bring in our good friend Steven Stamp. And I'm not going to ask you soccer thoughts because you're here for a short time, but also a good time. We're going to jump right to the NLL, Stamper. And heading into this weekend, it's exciting. I saw the news release from the NLL. Only one team's clinched a playoff berth coming out of this weekend with a very vast spate of games. How many do you think will clinch coming out of the weekend?
There's not going to be a lot of clinching this weekend. Nobody's really in position because there are so many teams that are close. And honestly, it may sound like an April Fool's joke, but I assure you it's not. The Saskatchewan Rush, who everyone's written off, they're not out of it. It's fascinating to see how close it is, how close all the teams are. And I know people are thinking, oh, Saskatchewan, no, they've only won 4 games. They're 4-10, but just look at the teams ahead of them. Calgary plays Halifax and Rochester, and Panther City plays Georgia. So if they lose to those Eastern teams, that's losses within the division without anybody else getting a win. San Diego plays Vancouver, Colorado, Panther City, and the Rush. If they beat Vancouver, Colorado, Panther City, obviously that helps the Rush. And then what Saskatchewan would need is the other teams to kind of beat up on each other a bit down the stretch and not have them all split games so they're all getting a win here and there. They need somebody to lose a bunch of games. But it's not as crazy as it might have seemed. It's, pretty much everyone is still in the hunt. especially with that potential crossover from the East to the West. It's looking more and more like a Western team could grab that fourth spot in the West. But obviously, Philadelphia, the loss last night for them hurts. Albany, I don't think is out of it. I mean, they've got some games they've got to win, but yeah, there's not going to be a lot of clinching happening right away, except, of course, Buffalo with the chance to clinch first overall in the East in addition to the playoff spot they've already clinched.
Ryan McCarthy is watching in New York State, and he says, question for Mr. Stamp. Albany has been on a downward spiral since the second half of the Georgia game. How much help do they need to get into the playoffs at this point?
They need some help, like Saskatchewan does, because you're sitting at 6-9, and basically we've thought all along you're going to need at least 8 wins to get in. But you look at the East, where you've got Buffalo is obviously clinched. You've got Halifax, Toronto, and Georgia all have 8 wins already, and Albany has lost some season series there. So they are going to need help. They would probably have to go in through the West. They'd be looking at that 4th seed. So the one thing I mentioned, they play with a game against a Western team, they have to win that. So they need some help, but again, just like Saskatchewan, it's not over. They just don't have a lot of margin for error at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule here. There's 2 featured games on TSN this weekend. I'm wondering, a couple of things came into my mind at the same time. So I'll ask with the first. What's the national television contract done, in your opinion, for the NLL with both ESPN Plus in the States and TSN in Canada, Stamper?
I think it's largely positive. I think in the States in particular, ESPN, it's getting broad viewership. It opens. I think you have to be on television, because then you get the casual fan who's looking through their guide and say, National Lacrosse League, what's that all about? When you're doing, when we had the pay-per-view, there were some good things about the VR Live contract, but it wasn't, if people have to pay to go watch it, you're capturing fans who already exist. You're not getting new fans. So that is huge. And in the States, all the games are archived on ESPN, which is a super difference, because there's so many games played at once. A busy weekend like this weekend, there are games overlapping. You can't watch everything. That is one problem with TSN, I will say for sure, is that the games are not archived, which means if you want to see all the games, you have to have multiple screens up and divide your attention. You can't go back and watch a lot of them. And that, to me, is a problem for folks who really want to dive in deep. So I think generally it's been quite positive. I think we need to get that archiving issue sorted out for it to really be the huge win that everyone wants it to be.
They also announced playoff format, I think yesterday, but it's not new, is it? First round's a 1-game elimination series. The next 2 rounds are best of 3. There was nothing new there, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was all announced before the season, how it was going to lay out. I think the new thing is looking at the exact date. So it could go 3 weeks into June if we go 3 rounds. 3 games in the division finals and 3 in the NLL Cup finals, which everyone, of course, starts looking at the PLL schedule and says, hey, there's the overlap. What are teams going to do? What would Colorado do or San Diego do? You look at, say, Buffalo and San Diego in the final, the Chaos are going to be missing a ton of players for their games. So that's I think the issue that people are starting to worry about, but there's nothing new about the schedule, about the way the playoffs are going to play out.
Those were my burning questions heading into this massive weekend in the NLL. What's on your mind with the league and the sport, Stamper?
One of the things I've really been looking at, I had an article out on IL Indoor yesterday, is people chasing records. And it's interesting because one thing that really struck me is, there are guys like, Zach Currier, amazing season. He's going after the loose ball record. He's also got a chance at the cause turnover record. Dane Smith is on track to challenge his all-time points record of 137, which is amazing. When he set that, we didn't think anyone would get close to it for a while. It was a magical season. And then this year, it seems almost to become habitual that he's scoring a ton of points every week. But one thing that really struck me is when the season extended to 18 games back in 2014, everyone said, oh, that's it. 100 points isn't going to mean anything. 50 goals isn't going to mean anything. There's going to be all this scoring. The people will just obliterate records. And it hasn't happened to the extent that we thought. But this year, there are 8 players who are on track to break 100 points. That would be the most in a season. So I think that's interesting that the scoring is up. It's been quite a high-scoring year for the top players. And now that group includes Lyle Thompson, who, good news for everyone, is back on the active roster for Georgia after missing a game. Josh Byrne was, going into last night, was on pace for like 99.6 points. So he, is staying hot, and he's staying in that hunt. So to me, it's interesting to see how a lot of these numbers are playing out, and how this season there seem to be a lot of players excelling. The group of players at the top of the league it seems deeper than usual.
Outstanding report, Stephen. Thank you for this. Enjoy the weekend games, and we'll chat here as the playoffs get nearer.
All right. Always a pleasure. Good to see you, Rod.
Our NLL insider from Lacrosse Link, Stephen Stamp. The Moose rejoins us next for overtime and the final viewer takeover of the week. So get your comments in and make them good. You're watching the RP Show's Flame Tech Football Friday. Flame Tech, your industry leaders in combustion services. You're watching on the Game Plus television network, YouTube live streaming. And if you've missed any portion of the show, you can always go back and catch the podcast wherever you enjoy the best podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Comfort has always been something we as people strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at Flame Tech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Here we go. You see those rain clouds rolling in. Going to be a wet afternoon here on the Atlantic coast of Florida. Hey, I got a lot of questions and comments come in, Moose, on the text line. Questions and comments and entries. If I can read a few as we bring the Moose back in here for one last visit in overtime. Brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. Carrie in Red Deer, she says, Humboldt Broncos for the win with a green heart. That's her featured game in our Bet Regal contest. Ryan in New York says Minnesota versus Carolina. He's taking the Hurricanes to win it. That's a good one. Glenn Brune watching in Medicine Hat. His game is the Leafs at the Flyers, and he's got Matthews adding to his goal total to lead the Leafs to a win. So I like the fact that people are chiming in all weekend long. You can text in the text line 902-518-3033. Get your entrance in. What do you got? It's a free contest. Pick the game you're most interested in, pick the winner, and then you could have a chance to win a prize package from Bet Regal. Cynthia Price in Pittsburgh writes in. She says, life is good, fellas. Have a great weekend. And she's right. Life is so good. And in overtime, Moose, that's all I had to say for those comments. What do you got going on this particular weekend?
I actually have an update to that World Junior bid that's supposed to come out of Saskatchewan. I was looking in the break.
What do you got?
It's coming in 3 days on the 4th, but it sounds like Saskatoon is going to present the bid on April the 4th without Regina involved in the bid. So they're going to use the SaskTel Center and Merlis Belcher Arena as the Group B bid, and Regina looks like they might be in danger of being cut out of the whole process.
Here we go.
Spicy.
How about that?
Yeah, well, you're on top of it, man. You get all the Saskatoon scoops, there's no doubt. You need to listen carefully. Andrew Stute, the Quebecer, writes in. He says, I pick L.A. over Winnipeg. Nah. Doesn't work that way. I said earlier, you got to text the text line. That's why we have it. 902-518-3033. Nobody's sitting here monitoring the comments in the chat. Text the line where we have a record in black and white of what the picks are. 902-518-3033. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. She says, enjoy the weekend. You too, Chris. Appreciate it. Everybody's signing off for the week. Hey, we're still here for another 5 minutes, which is an eternity in television time. 5 minutes. By the way, Facebook, I think, is just a wonderful thing. I know a lot of people think that it's the bane of society. It is the boil on the ass of society. I don't. I'm Facebook friends with Murray Howe. You might have heard of his dad, Gordon. And he just wished on Facebook a happy birthday to his father in hockey heaven, Gordon Howe. I immediately went to the big board. Looked it up. Sure enough, Gordon Howe, born March 31st, 1928 in Floral, Saskatchewan, died June 10th, 2016 in Sylvania, Ohio. And it's Mr. Hockey's birthday today. And it took his son on Facebook for me to be notified. Did you see that anywhere else today? I did not.
I missed it. No, I missed it.
That's why I say Facebook can be a great thing. And the other day I was thinking about the Mount Rushmore of the NHL. You could say Mount Rushmore of hockey if you want. To me, in a lot of ways, the NHL is hockey. Yeah. Gordon Howe, Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, and then the fourth, some other guy. Mario Lemieux, maybe? I don't know. Maybe those aren't even your three. I don't know.
No, I think, those are probably most people's three, if not all. I go along with that, especially when it comes to, the stars. Who did you have from the first half century or the first part of the hockey history, the first 100 years? Lionel Conacher?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Lionel Conacher played two sports in the CFL and the NHL, but I don't think he's necessarily going on the Mount Rushmore. Probably Georges Vezina. When you're naming a trophy after a guy that should cue to me cucumber, Rylan Spencer writes in from Seattle, says, great show, guys. Thank you, Rylan. He waits till now to say hey. Yeah. Ted in Red Deer says, Rocket Richard. I feel like there are no wrong answers. It's funny, Moose, you and I have had some pretty fun times. I remember walking into that hotel in Montreal, the Chateau de Champlain. And I'm like, Moose, just wait. You got to see this statue. You got to see this statue in the lobby. I take you around the corner. It's not there. My guys, where's the statue of Maurice Richard? Oh, it's in storage. We're doing renos. No!
Oh, no.
And then they end up, well, you know the story. You were there. They pull it out of storage and plunk it on our desk for that show in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
My God, was that not one of the highlights of your life?
That was so cool. That was so cool. Yeah, for sure. And to connect with who we connected with and be there in that city for that moment, that was cool.
Now, I talked to Knuckles Nyland the other day. Rylan in Seattle says, listening, can't interact much today. Well, I appreciate you, Rylan, for doing what you can. And he says, have a great weekend. Jennifer at the Four Seasons says, have a fabulous weekend, everyone. And, of course, go Pats and go Oilers. Pats home tonight to the Winnipeg Ice. Moose will be at the microphone of it. I'll tell you this, that down here in South Florida, here is my biggest problem right now. The 1 minute of play remaining in the RP show today. 1 minute of play remaining. My biggest problem is, are we going to go to the Leafs Tuesday? Got some friends coming from Canada, and they want to go to a Panthers game. And here's the options. Could go to the Leafs game on Tuesday and have to pay a lot of money and sit in the upper deck. Or just wait till Friday when the Buffalo Sabres are here, pay less money, and be able to sit wherever the hell you want. What would you do, Moose? Assuming Toronto wasn't your favorite team.
I know, but it's still a marquee draw if I'm a Panther fan, and almost like a playoff preview maybe. I probably try and go to Tuesday, but it all depends on how expensive. Friday's not a bad option.
Exactly. Pay cheaper, get better seats, and go watch the Sabres, but the problem is, it's the Sabres. Okay, Moose has the call, as I said, of the Pats on the ice. Great job, Moose. Love it. Have a good weekend. Same to everybody else. We'll see you Monday at noon Eastern, hopefully back on Game Plus and here on YouTube. Because I thought I was going to see Cyndi Lauper. And then I get there and she's nowhere to be found.
You just got duped.
I got duped.
Yeah.
Hey, who wants to get duped by Dupe?
How about that?